All right. Did it not? Is it coming through now? For the people on Zoom? Yeah, there's a chat here. Okay, thanks. All right, so for our next presentation, we have Sabrina Toro from the University of Colorado at Denver, and looks like done some really interesting work. What? Oh, so all right, next up is Sabrina Toro from the University of Colorado at Denver, and talk about our work building the vertebrate breed ontology. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Everything is good online? We cannot hear us. Are we unmuted maybe? No, we are mute.
You're perfect online.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so thank you, Bill. I want to thank the organizer for giving me the opportunity to tell you about this very brand new ontology, the vertebrate breed ontology. As I will mention a million times during this talk, it is a very brand new project. So there's still a lot of work happening. So my name is Sabrina. I am here with the Monarch Initiative here. Okay, that works. So in the Monarch Initiative, we leverage the data that exists in the medical field and the clinical field and from animal models in the research community in order to support disease diagnostic and treatment discovery. Doing this, we need to get data that is very disparate. Is it better? Okay. So we need to integrate and harmonize data that is very disparate, such as gene and phenotype and diseases. And this data integration and harmonization involve the use of ontologies. Everybody here is aware of that. This process is species agnostic, however, at this point in time, because all the data, not all, most of the data that we get comes from the medical field and from animal models. We currently, the disease diagnosis is very human specific. So if we could, okay, here. So if we could add the information that we have from non-human animals, for example, from the databases such as OMIA, the Online Mendelian, I'm losing the rest of the thing. So from OMIA or from the veterinary field, then we could improve that disease diagnostic, not only for human, but also for non-human animals. We are currently working on getting this non-human animals data into the whole Monarch system. And one piece of the puzzle is to have an ontology for vertebrate breeds. So we created the Vertebrate Breed Ontology, or VBO. So VBO was created to be used as a standard for animal breeds name. Our scope is vertebrate animals, so livestock, companion animals such as cats and dogs. And also we heard that there's a need for including the animals that are used, that are bred, especially for the research purposes. As I mentioned, VBO was created less than a year ago, so we're still doing a lot of work on this. Before going any further, we of course have to define what a breed is. A breed is like a species. You go online, you go on all this publication, and there's like a million definitions. For our purposes, we're defining a breed as a group of animals that share specific characteristics that distinguish it from other organisms of the same species, or a group of animals which cultural or geographical separation has led to the general acceptance of its separate identity. We are not in the business of deciding if a group of animal is a breed or not. So we completely rely on international breed communities and organizations and experts and what is in the literature to tell us what breeds, what the breeds are. So first thing we had to do is figure out our classification. Following our definitions, it seemed obvious that a breed is a subclass of species. So we created VBO on top of the NCBI taxon, which has species, and all the breeds are an instance of species as defined in NCBI taxon. So the general way that our strategy was to use ODK. Nico talked about ODK yesterday, and that's great tools because it does everything, not everything, a lot of things we need. So ODK checks for errors in the ontology. It also helps with releases all the new versions. So we used ODK, and ODK also gave us robot, and this ontology was based on robot template. So what we do, we get information from the sources that has all the breeds that is decided a breed. We get them in a spreadsheet, and then we manually create robot template, but also we manually map each species to the correct NCBI taxon that species it is from. And then we use robot to create a VBO. We have everything on GitHub. This is where we are. Please go and check and leave us a million questions and feedback there. So currently we have a few breeds of we have a lot of breeds from several species. We have livestock breeds that represent about a bit over 40 species. We also have the cat breeds and the ontology, and we're currently working on getting dog breeds. So a lot of work is happening. So I want to take a little bit of time to tell you how we got there. So for the livestock breed, we decided to get all our information from the Domestic Animal Diversity Information, or DADIS. DADIS is maintained and developed by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. It aims to list all the breeds from all the countries. It is maintained by national organizers from 182 countries, and so it is the most exhaustive list of breed that we could find out there. The information of breed in DADIS is identified based on the country where the breeds exist. So we have some breeds that exist only in a single country, and then there's some breeds that exist in several countries. And for those breeds that exist in several countries, each instance of this breed in a specific country is considered an instance on its own. So we created VBO, and we represented that classification. So those chicken here with the green background, and I have to say there's much more breed of chicken, right? This is just a very small small picture of what we have. So those breed with the green backgrounds are breed that exist in only one country. These breeds are direct children of the NCBI taxon for chicken. The one in blue are the breeds, some examples of breed that exist in multiple countries. Those breeds are direct children of the NCBI taxon for the chicken species, and they have children that are the particular instance in specific countries. For the cat breeds, we have much more sources. So we had a list of species from international breed organizations. Here's the list. I'm not going to read them. We also had information from the community. We also had experts. So we worked with Leslie, still work with Leslie Lyon at the University of Missouri, who has done a lot of work to look into the genetic of cat breed. And also, we also had information from the literature, especially OMIA brought a lot of that information. The information we have for cats is very simple. Again, there's more cat breeds than what I'm showing here, but all our cat breeds are basically children of the NCBI taxon for cat species. We have a lot of metadata. I'm going to go through this list quite quickly because we're already running out of time, but please ask me a question later if you are interested in knowing more about all of these. So most common names and synonyms, every ontology has that. We also record the country of existence of a breed. As I mentioned earlier, the livestock from the DADIS list is based on that information. So that information is in VBO as subclass, and we refer to Wikidata for the country where the breed exists. In the data that we have, we know that the breed status is something of importance, especially for when you are in the field of championship for cats and dogs. So we also recorded that information as an annotation, using VBO term for the recognition status. We did the same with breed domestication status. Also, we record this as an annotation using a VBO created term. Breed codes. So some in the championship world, a lot of places uses breed code. So we also record this as an annotation property. And as you can see, all our annotations and all our data have the source where this information comes from. So one person could find where that code comes from. Currently, most of the information we have comes from random website, random-ish website, but really almost no information we currently have comes from actual databases. So we don't have a way to reference to an actual database. When it is the case, though, like for example, OMIA have their own ID for some of those breeds, then we record this as a database cross-reference. We also record the description of origin of the breed, and as I mentioned, all the sources for all the information we have in VBO is being recorded. So, partial summary: we created VBO as a standard for breed names, and we really rely on information from international organizations, communities, and experts so that they define what makes a breed. Currently, we have livestock and cat breeds in VBO, and we have a bunch of metadata. VBO has been accepted in the OBO ontology, and it is available in OLS and ONTOBY. And I want to say a quick thank you to the OLS and ONTOBY team, because they made it, they put VBO into the website just before this meeting, and we really asked the last minute, so thank you. And as I mentioned, it's the very beginning of this project, so there's a lot of improvement, and I'm going to go quickly through a few things that that we know we have to do. So there's a lot more of information that we have about breeds that we need to add into VBO. First, the country of origin of a breed, extinction status that we know is important in some user group. We will do this by we will record this annotation as an annotation property. Sorry, as an annotation. Also, we have a lot of information about a breed shares characteristic with another breed. So we need to figure out a way to record that information in VBO. Similarly, there's a lot of breeds that are created by crossing two different breeds. So we need to figure out also how to record that information into VBO. And lastly, almost all, I would say, of the information we currently have on breeds, breeds are defined based on phenotypes and traits, but there's a lot of work happening right now to figure out the genetics behind those traits. And for example, there's a lot of gene and variants that are associated to those traits. So we need to figure out how to include this information into VBO. So in addition to adding breed information, okay, here we are. We also want to add more sources and more species. So we are working currently with the livestock breed ontology team. There's an ontology for livestock breed. I don't have time to explain how we interact, but we are where they exist. They're where we exist, that here on this paper, and we need to figure out how to bring those two ontologies together. Also, we also know about a group called for veterinary nomenclature, the VNOM. They create code breeds that some vets use. So we need to figure out how to include that information into VBO. And as I mentioned, we're working on breeds and adding also the animal bred for research purposes. Finally, we really need to reach out to the community and our consortium. As I mentioned, the VBO users that we currently have is databases like OMIA, but we're also working to get VBO to be used for veterinary electronic health records. But there's other group out there that could use VBO, such as breeders, or so we need to reach out to them and then see what they need and what they need to have from this ontology. And this will lead to creating new annotations, probably also creating new type of classifications. For example, classification based on a breed purpose, such as breed that are used for milk productions or herding dogs. This sort of classification that will be much clearer once we have that discussion with our users. Okay, so this is basically VBO. We are on GitHub. I see it's blocked, but Vertebrate Breed Ontology, that's what it's supposed to say. As I mentioned, I don't know how many times, but I'm going to say it again. We're very early in the project, so any feedback is more than welcome. We are out of time, so please go to the GitHub, send me an email, reach out however you want, but we would really love to have your feedback. And this is the VBO team. We're a mix of ontology expert and ontology learners, I should say. We also have animal experts that help us understanding the data. A quick shout out to Nico Matenzoglu, who has helped a lot with the whole modeling, and he's basically solving all my problem and saving the day pretty much every day. So we couldn't do without him. And I'm sure a lot of people here feel the same. Kathleen Mullen, who did a lot of work getting all the cat breeds. And last but not least, our colleague at OMIA, Emke Taman and Frank Nicholas, who really spearheaded that project with and getting the ball started on this ontology. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina. Unfortunately, we're running really short on time, so we're just going to move on to the next presentation.